Assalamu alaikum. Today we learned the bony features and attachments of the scapula. First, this is left scapula. As you know that it is triangular shape, flat bone, and also called as shoulder blade. It is a part of pectoral girdle. Along with the clavicle, the scapula and clavicle together they form pectoral girdle. First, see the bony features of the scapula. It has two surfaces, the dorsal surface and the costal surface. It has three borders, the superior border, the lateral border, and the medial border. Three processes: the spinous process, the acromion process, and the coracoid process. It has three angles, the lateral or glenoidal angle, inferior angle, and the superior angle. Now first see the costal surface. The costal surface is facing forward and medially. It has a depression called the subscapular fossa. If you see the costal surface closely, you can see the 3 to 4 oblique ridges. You can see over here 3 to 4 oblique ridges running from medial to lateral border. Now the median 2/3 of the subscapular fossa provide origin to the subscapularis muscles, and the ridges provide attachment to the intramuscular septa, and these septa are providing additional surface area so that maximum number of fibers can be accommodated. So the subscapularis is an example of multipinnate muscle. Now see the dorsal surface. The dorsal surface is subdivided into two fossa by spinous process. The smaller one is the supraspinous fossa, and the larger one is a infraspinous fossa. Median 2/3 of the supraspinous fossa, along with the superior surface of the spine, it provides origin to the supraspinatus muscles, and median 2/3 of the infraspinous fossa, along with the corresponding to the inferior surface of the spine, it provides origin to the infraspinatus muscles. There is a notch, you can see over here. There is a notch between the glenoidal angle and the spine, so is name given as spino-glenoid notch. This is a connection between the supraspinous fossa and the infraspinous fossa. The suprascapular nerve or vessels, they pass through the the suprascapular nerve or vessels, they pass through the spinoglenoid notch to enter into the infraspinous fossa. Now see the borders. First see the lateral border. It is also called as axillary border, and it is very thick. It extends from the glenoidal angle above and the inferior angle below. Just below the glenoidal angle, there is a tubercle. Here there is a tubercle which is known as the infraglenoid tubercle, and this provide origin to the long head of triceps of brachii muscles. Now below that the lateral border, it forms a flat bony strip. This is the flat bony strip. So along with the lateral border, the flat bony strip, the median 2/3 of this flat bony strip provides origin to the trees minor muscles, and there is an oblique ridge. So below this oblique ridge, it provides origin to the trees major muscles. Along with the lateral border, within the origin of the trees minor muscles, there is a notch here, and there is a notch, and this notch is lodging to circumflex scapular vessels that is going towards the infraspinous muscles. Infraspinous muscles covers the infraspinatus Infraspinatus fascia covers the infraspinatus muscles and teres minor muscles in the fascia is attached to this the spinous process and to entire infraspinous fossa excluding the teres major muscles. So this oblique ridge provide attachment to the infraspinatus fascia, and in the injury or fracture to the scapula there is a formation of a hematoma which is limited to the territory of this infraspinatus fascia. Now see the costal aspect of the lateral border. It is very thick and it is behaving as a lever for the action of the serratus anterior muscles. There is attachment of the serratus anterior muscles. So during various movement produced by serratus anterior muscles, the lateral border, which is thick, is behaving as a lever. Now the medial border. This is the medial border, and it is also called as a vertebral border because it is attached to the vertebral column medially. It extends from the superior angle to the inferior angle, and along its costal aspect it bears a thin bone strip here superiorly. It bears a thin bone strip above, and below becomes a little bit raised structure. Little bit raised and triangular medial bone strip. So the superiorly the rough elevated area, it is the attachment for the first digitation of serratus anterior. The second and third digitation are attached to this medial bone strip, and the lower 5 digitations of serratus anterior they are attached in this lower raised portion. So this is how the 8 digitations are attached to the medial border of the costal aspect. Now the dorsal aspect of the medial border at the level of the spine, third thoracic vertebrae. At the level of the third thoracic vertebrae, there is a triangular area, and it coincides with the apex of the spine. So this is the apex of the spine. This triangular area at the level of the third thoracic vertebrae. So at the dorsal aspect, from superior angle to the point which is related to the apex of the spine, this portion provides insertion to levator scapulae muscles, and the portion of medial border along its dorsal aspect against the apex of the spine, this portion provides attachment to the rhomboides minor muscles, and the remaining dorsal aspect of the medial border provides insertion to the rhomboides major muscles. Now see the superior border near the root of the coracoid process. There is a notch which is termed as the suprascapular notch. Now this suprascapular notch is converted into a foramen by a suprascapular ligament. Stop. And through this ligament, the supraspinous nerve, they pass into the supraspinous fossa. They enter into the supraspinous fossa, and the suprascapular nerve they enter in the supraspinous fossa above to the ligament, and they enter to the they pass through the spinoglenoid notch to enter to the infraspinous fossa. Now see the glenoidal angle. This structure is called the head of the scapula, and the rest of the body and the rest of the scapula is called the body of the scapula. Next, to the margin of the glenoidal angle, there is a constricted part. There is a constricted part which is termed as anatomical neck of the scapula. It is pear shaped and which is narrow above and broad below. There is a depression which is in living covered by articular cartilage, and that provides socket of the head of the humerus, and together they form the shoulder joint. Now above the glenoidal angle near the root of the coracoid process, there is a tubercle which is termed as the supraglenoid tubercle, and to the below of the glenoidal angle there is also a tubercle which is termed as the infraglenoid tubercle. Now the supraglenoid tubercle, it provides origin to the long head of biceps brachii muscles. Now see the superior angle. It is of the superior border and the medial border, and it is covered by trapezius muscles. See the inferior angle. The inferior angle is the meeting point of the medial border and the lateral border. Dorsally, it is the attachment of the teres major muscles and few strips of the latissimus dorsi. At costal aspect, it has the attachment of the lower 5 digitations of serratus anterior muscles. Now see the spinous process, and this is called the crest of the spine. It bears two limbs, the upper limb and the lower limb. The upper limb is continuous with the medial border of the acromion process, and the lower limb is continuous with the lateral border of the acromion process. The upper limb has the attachment of the trapezius muscles, while the lower limb has the attachment of the deltoid muscles. Now see the coracoid process. This is the coracoid process. At the tip of the coracoid process, there is attachment of the coracobrachialis muscles, and at the superior aspect, it is the attachment of the pectoralis minor muscles. So yeah, this is done. Allah Hafiz.